let's be honest, this is still a lot of games. But compared to like past hauls and some other people's hauls, this really is not that many games to get at Gen Con. Yeah. But nonetheless, I'm Nick, that's Mike, we're the Buzz Murph. Let's go through the games we got at Gen Con.
3, 2, 1, bro.
Let's talk about what we acquired at Gen Con, man. First of all, this was not available at Gen Con.
No.
So I'll make that clear.
This is a German version, and I think to this point it's still the only version of My City Roll and Write.
Yeah.
The Reiner Knizia legacy game My City has been rolled and written. And
Courtesy of the Losers.
Yeah. The Losers brought this over for us because they know we love My City. And it's awesome. It's a roll and write. I think you can do like a little miniature campaign, or you can do Mit Würfeln aus Stil erschafft ihr und ein Einzelgarten Stadt.
Oh, I love that part. I love the part with the Stadt.
So we're super excited for this.
Well, Stadt means city.
Oh, yeah.
Because in Fayum, you can get Stadts.
Yep.
And so city, nailed
Boom. But yeah, so we're super excited for that, but this was not like available at Gen Con, so we'll get that out of the way first.
We'll also talk about this right here. This is a little map pack for
four maps,
like
two-sided maps for
two-sided
Ark
maps.
Nova.
This isn't a full game, but nonetheless, this is a couple more maps for Ark Nova. So we love Ark Nova, and so we're pumped. Again, it's two-sided maps. Really, really excited to play this. Absolutely love Ark Nova. So that we got as well.
Rippable.
Let's talk about an expansion we got, Mikey.
And it did. We got a couple expansion things.
Yeah.
We got the Great Western Trail Rails to the north. This is the expansion for the second edition of Great Western Trail.
Yeah.
So it's got the same kind of continuous art and everything like that. And for us, Great Western Trail was greatly improved by having the expansion, because in the original Great Western Trail and in the second edition too, without an expansion, the rails part, the train part, is just sort of like a
boring.
Hope you've moved it so you don't have to pay extra money, and then you can sort of, it doesn't, like if you don't expand your rail, if you don't move it down the line, the only thing that happens is you pay money.
Yeah.
But like you're not stopped from doing what you want to do, so it's not dynamic at all. And this adds a lot of like stuff to explore with the trains.
It made the most boring part much more interesting. And I'm like, great, that's awesome.
Because now you have different cities you can go to. There's different perks you can get by taking your rail up into this extension of the board up at the top.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot more fun. And this is, again, keeping the beautiful art where like now if you go up, it's like a mountainscape. It's all frosty really and cold. And it just like looks really rad.
Yeah, Chris Williams crushed it, yeah.
Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
there's a new cow variant in here and stuff, and solo things and new game components that all match with the second edition of Great Western Trail.
Speaking of this, we did get to try the new Great Western Trail Argentina. It's really, really fun, and so we're really excited for that. We obviously didn't get that game; they didn't have it, but nonetheless, we did get to play that, and it was really fun.
Yeah, but we're excited to try this and have Great Western Trail second edition now be complete. So that's super duper cool.
Indeed, another little expansion we got was this one right here, the Mandala Stones Harmony expansion.
This is a small game from Board and Dice where you're picking up these like acrylic discs and stuff, and they create a tower based on the order that you pick them up. They'll kind of make this little tower, and you plop it down onto your player board, and then you can then remove those stones from your player board to score points. And you kind of want to have different height of towers based on the type of scoring that they do. So the expansion, Harmony expansion, adds in a bunch of white tiles that I think go on top of each stack that I think are like wild.
Okay.
And so it gives you like a new couple of choices to make with the white ones of what you do, because I think they're kind of like wild or something. But so it's like a small little change, but gives you just like what do I do with these?
I really like Mandala Stones. We talked about it on our most underrated list because this is a game that like really, in my opinion, should have done like Azul kind of numbers and just kind of didn't, unfortunately. Yeah. I really think that it's in that same wheelhouse of like really pretty, really chunky piece abstract games. That really should have done incredible. I think it did fine for them, but like I think it should have blown up like Azul did, and it didn't, unfortunately. So I'm glad to have this expansion because I want more Mandala Stones in my life.
Yeah, it's a nice little add, just 12 little white stones and their little abilities that they bring. So very cool little addition. Scout, man. Everyone bought this game at the con we saw.
It's V-Small.
It's from Oink Games. It's a tiny little card game with a circus theme on it.
Sure.
If you care, but this is a cool little, again, as we talked about before, you can't organize your hand.
No.
And you're trying to put together a good hand of cards in the way that you can scout and grab cards and stuff like that, but you can't just shift a 1 to a 2 to a 3. That'd be a great hand of cards. So you have to make do with the order that things appear in your hand. And if you have like a 4, 7, 5, you can play that 7 out if you manage to play it. And now the 4 and the 5 are next to each other, so you can create runs and sets of cards which are more powerful than just like an individual card where you're trying to have a high number.
It's really good, and I had actually played this game a couple times. Mike hadn't, though, so I
finally got a
kept
chance
telling
to
him how
play it.
great it was, and so we were like, we got to get Scout. Everyone was getting Scout. Luckily, they brought a bunch of copies.
Yeah, they
But
did.
I really, really wanted to try Scout, or I wanted Mike to try Scout because I knew he would really like it.
Yeah.
We played it a bunch of times already. It's great.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Highly recommend. This is one I fully expect we will play and wear out and have to get again, which is good because it's like a $20 game. But it's a really fun one.
The other game that seemed like everyone got was, bam, Cat in the Box.
In that box. Quantum trick-taking
It's
game.
weird.
It is weird because
It's fun.
it's so fun because all of, if you are familiar with trick-taking type games, it usually comes down to there are suits or colors or whatever have you of cards. And if I play, if we're playing spades, for example, if I lead with hearts, you have to follow with hearts if you can. And in this game, it's still beneficial to follow suit, but one thing that's interesting is all of the cards are black and white. They have no color to them. There are 4 colors, but you assign the suit to the card by playing it around your little player board. So if I play it on the blue side, it's now a blue 3. If I play it on the yellow, it's a yellow 3. And if you led with blue, if I follow with blue, I'm hoping to play a higher card to win that trick. There is a trump suit of red, so if you play anything in red, the lowest red will beat the highest of any other color. But if I break off suit, which I can choose to do at any time, you're not forced to follow suit, but if you play something blue and I decide to go green, I then lose the ability to play blue for the rest of the round.
Yes.
I can no longer play blue.
You did not follow suit, yeah.
And this game is all about trying to maintain options, because as you play a blue 3 on this little track on the board, the blue 3 goes away. No one else can play a blue 3 specifically. So you're trying to make sure that you can have a legal place to play, and if you can't, you create a paradox, and that'll kind of end the round, and you're bidding on how many tricks you'll win. There's like this little, I want to say, area control on the player board, because if you have a bunch of your pieces that are connected on that central board, and you say, like, I'm going to win 2 tricks, and you do, you get to count points for all of those pieces that are connected to each other in the biggest contiguous
The
group.
prediction part of it is very difficult.
Really
because
difficult.
sometimes you're like, I look at my hand, I'm like, I don't think I can win much. I'm going to say I'm going to win 1 trick. So a lot of times you don't necessarily want to win a trick because, and then sometimes you want to play specific numbers to get your little pieces grouped together. It's very weird, very fun. With 5 players, I think it's much too long. You're supposed to basically play a round for every player. So if 5-player game, play 5 rounds. I think it's much, much too long.
I play it 3 or 4. I don't think I'd play 5 again.
Yeah, I don't think I'd play 5. Or if you did play 5, play like 3 rounds. Like, just don't play 5 rounds. Like, just
Yeah, because I mean, I guess like you
got
have an
the advantage
advantage
of
if you get to
leading.
lead, but it's like
I don't know. To me, it's like it got too long. It's really, really fun. I probably would only play 3 or 4. Apparently, it's good at 2, so I'm very curious to try it at 2. But no, this Cat in the Box was very cool. It was very weird, but in a good way.
Yes, really enjoyable, adorable. I like the little bits and stuff in the box. And again, small box is a winner.
Speaking of trick taking,
Speaking of it.
Wicked and Wise.
Wicked and Wise from
This
Weird
is like
Giraffe.
a team trick-taking game. We have dragons and mice.
Yes, and you're depending on if you're a dragon or you're a mouse, you have different objectives
Yes.
and things and ways that you play your cards and
Yeah,
win.
so dragons, I believe, want to win tricks.
Yes.
So you are playing cards for their value, but each card has like an ability. If you're a mouse, when you're playing cards, you're playing the ability.
You don't care about the number or anything. You only care about the abilities.
And it's
I'm like,
apparently really, really fun. It was by
Yeah.
Fortessa, who's an awesome designer. And so this is by Weird Giraffe Games. We really, really wanted to try this one out.
and depending, sorry.
No, please, I'm just really excited for it. Yeah.
Depending on the player count, you'll have an X amount of dragons, X amount of mice. If it's a 2-player game, you're both dragons, and you have, I think, it's sort of an automated mouse
Yes.
character. But yeah, this is one I'm like, I think it's a really interesting thing to explore. We always enjoy trick taking, best sellable art, so it's gonna be rad. You know that.
Yeah, come on.
And the little demo that we saw, I was like, this is really fascinating. So I want to find out more. So we asked if they would give us a copy, and they had
they were
this
very
demo
nice
copy to give us, which is
Yeah.
very fortunate.
Demo
So
copy is great. Yeah.
shouts out, but yeah,
Super
really excited for that.
Very interesting sounding. I love that you're playing 2 different. It's kind of like Banner Festival in that way,
Yeah.
where it's like sometimes you play low cards, you're getting the ability. It's just very, very cool.
Yeah.
A number 1 game that this is on our number 1 anticipated list. We did get to pick it up. Was Get On Board. I'll tell you right now, a lot of stuff on our anticipated list we didn't come home with because.
No.
We didn't come home with that much, and some stuff
a
just
good
wasn't really
portion of
there.
them weren't there.
Yeah, unfortunately,
For
but nonetheless,
purchase anyway, at least maybe half.
Get On Board is kind of a new implementation of Let's Make a Bus Route, which is by Sashi and Sashi. Over in Japan, very, very hard to get here.
Very much the same game.
So Sashi paired up with Yellow, and now this is Let's Make a Bus Route. Slight changes here and there, but it's basically just Let's Make a Bus Route, which is a rolling route where everyone is putting their bus routes onto the same
You're all
city.
driving around the same city,
Yeah.
either New York or London.
New York or London. New York is playing 2 to 3 player, London playing 4 or 5, which is nice. It's 2 different maps
Yeah.
because it's very needed. and you're trying to pick up different passengers, go to different parts. Basically, for every university student you pick up, you get to mark one off on your little board. The more universities students you've picked up, you times that by the amount of universities you visited, and then that's your score for like the university part of it. So you're basically trying to pick up and deliver all these different
route that passes by the types of things that you want to pass
by.
Everything can be valuable.
But you don't want to go down the same route as someone else because then you're causing traffic and pollution, and that's going to be negative points. And so you're trying to have your own route. It's very, very fun. It's really cool. I really like this version of it.
Yeah.
It's just outstanding.
In the original, you're all drawing your little route, your lines on the same board, which is really cool. I actually really enjoy that, like the novelty of that, but it gets very messy.
Yes.
The board itself gets very gunked up because there's just a lot of writing on it, and it's hard to tell how many people pass by this. So here you have these kind of like little Catan road sticks,
little sticks
that you place out, and so it's a nice, beautiful. It creates a very satisfying look as you're weaving your pathway, really well. And then everything else is kind of rolling right. So it does. That's really the main change here, and it's. I mean, the style of it, the art and everything is like super pretty. I like Let's Make a Bus Route. This is in a much smaller box, which I think is perfect for the size game that it is. And so I'm so excited to have this. We've always wanted Let's Make a Bus Route, and now we have it in Get On Board. So happy we got this. This was my number 1 hope, and we got there.
Indeed. We got a little bit of Turing
Machine. This, I'm so excited to try this.
Very curious.
This seems like, and Scorpion Mask has done this before with Decrypto, seems like one of the strangest, and in a good way, games ever. Like, Decrypto's a really cool deduction game, but it's like hard to explain. It's like weird. And once you get into it, it's like not that funky, but it's just funky to explain. This similarly, people are like, it's like you basically create an analog computer, which you do.
You're trying to guess numbers, and I'm like, what?
A computer that works. You're trying to guess a sequence of numbers. And all of the cards and stuff have various holes punched through them, and the cover itself has a bunch of holes on it as well. And when you line up a 1, 2, 3, for example, it's going to create a sequence of holes that maybe all line up or don't line up. And then you're going to check it against one of the machines of the computer. And you're going to look for either a check mark, meaning the thing that you posited is a correct statement or it's incorrect. But they could be, it's only going to give you a piece of the puzzle. It's just saying something like one of the numbers or the first number is a 3 or less. And if that's true, then you'll see a check mark. If that's not a true statement, you'll get an X. But if it's a 3 or less and you have a 1 and a 2, you don't have your answer. It's still any of those 3 because all of them are 3 or less. And you're trying to deduce down. And from what we've heard is like you will actually get there if you do these things. But like on the outside, I'm like, what'd you say?
What was that?
How does this work?
I'm very curious.
But it's intriguing. I want to find out. So we're super duper excited for Turing Machine. And it's a competitive deduction game.
It's very, very cool. Scorpion Mask does very interesting stuff. So we're very excited for it. It looks cool. Again, the box is like punched out. It's very cool. Yeah, it's
a solid package. We got a few games from Good Games Publishing. We got Too Many Cooks, which is a cooperative, real-time kind of deduction game.
It's kind of like Decorum, honestly.
It's kind of like Decorum. We are trying to make a soup together, and we have different things, different tastes as chefs, where we're going to have different rules for the game, where the 4 corners of this display of cards must be blue, or they must be tomatoes, or you cannot have 2 of the same color eggplant. So you can't, if you want to have eggplant, you need to have red or yellow and green. You can't repeat the color. Different rules like that, and you are in real time, like Decor, making a shift. You can shift down like something from the leftmost spot, you can kind of bring it around to the right and shift all the rest of the cards.
You can swap stuff.
Or you can swap like a tomato for a different color tomato or a red card for a different color red card. You change the ingredient.
But you don't know what everyone else wants, and so you have a card on the back of your card. It has an angry chef and then a happy chef. So at one point, if you do get to the point where you're happy, you flip your card upside down so everyone now knows that
Meaning
I'm
that
happy.
the soup is delicious to me. The soup is perfect. Meaning
so
my goal is satisfied.
If you're playing a 4-player game, all 4 of us have goals, but there's also like 2 or 3 public objectives that we also need to meet, and we win the game in, I think, 5 minutes if all the objectives are met. And it's just, it's fun. It's you're swapping stuff out. You're kind of communicating, be like, I hate this soup. I hate this soup. The soup sucks.
Similar to Decorum, we like the fact that it's a solvable puzzle.
Yes.
But it's hard. And we played the easy level, and there's like, I don't even know, several ways to make it harder. Several ways. And I'm like, who on earth is making this harder? So I don't know if I'm interested in that, but if we ever get really good at this game, we can just
It's a cool
crank
little game.
up the heat.
It's a cool little game. I think I'll probably end up liking Decorum more,
I
but
agree with that.
it's a cool game.
Yeah.
It's a cool game.
I'm excited to play it. I like that it's real time because I think it's a little hectic.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of fun. Decorum is probably going to ultimately be our more favorite. But this one also is not like a campaign where you get an answer.
No,
it's card driven, so you could replay this one over and over. Whereas Decorum, in theory, you get the answer to every puzzle and you'll know the answer.
As if I can remember what the other ones were.
I've already forgotten every that we've done.
Yeah, we picked up a couple things from good games publishing. We also got Funfair, which is a kind of sequel to Unfair. Unfair is a game where you're in an amusement park, but it's really, really, really mean. And so we've never had too much interest in Unfair because we're just not really mean gamers.
Yeah.
And as Unfair is described to us, it's like you basically get these game-breaking combos, and it's mean because then your job is to stop that combo from happening for the other
You just
people.
have to do it to
You have
compete.
to. Whereas Unfair is like a Funfair is like a tableau building game. I think still combo, but not quite so crazy. But this is a much, much less mean version. And so we've always been more interested in this.
Fun.
I like theme parks
parks.
as a game. I love theme parks just in general. I want to go to it. It's been a while since I've been to a theme park.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been a hot minute. I would love to go to one. But nonetheless, love theme parks as a game. Always been interested in this game. It's got Mr. Cuddington art, which is always great. And yeah, Funfair. So I'm curious. We haven't tried it, but I've always wanted to play it. And so yeah, we picked it up.
I know. Theme parks. We need more theme parks.
This is not a new game, but it was there.
No, we got it. We also got Land vs. Sea, which isn't brand new. It's
I'm very
new-ish.
excited for this one.
This is a 2 to 4 player game where you're tile laying, and if we're playing against each other, I'll be the land character, you'll be the sea.
Yep.
And you're trying to complete areas of land and sea with these like hexagonal tiles. And as you place them down, kind of Carcassonne-ish, you got to make the landscape make sense.
Yep.
And you're trying to vie for control. I'm trying to make sure that I don't, by putting this down, inadvertently complete a section for the sea because that gets you points.
Yeah.
And there's also these little, actually not even just one, but there's multiple ways you can add in layers of scoring to the game.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
like a mountains and coral way to play where now you'll get points for these mountain ranges or these coral reefs you create for yourself. There's ways you can play in team play if you're playing a 4-player game. If you're a 3-player, you all sort of have different goals. Like one player plays not as a land or the sea, but they sort of can score off of both that get completed. So there's lots of ways to play it, but it seems like it's mostly meant as like a 2-player game.
In 4-player, you play teams and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it's got this cool little, it'll
People
kind
really
of
like
Carcassonne-ish
it, yeah.
will arrive in front of you, but then you can add in fun layers of like, well, now we can get bonus points this way, so maybe that changes your focus a little bit.
Yeah, people really like this game. I've always wanted to try it. I'm super excited for it. So yeah.
I'd almost picked this up several times because it's at like Barnes and Noble and
Yeah.
stuff. I'd almost picked this up several times. So I am really excited to have this now.
Yeah. Really excited to
and
try it.
give it a go.
Let's see. I'm going to think about one more.
One more, man. This is another one that was high up on our list. This is from Board and Dice. This is Terracotta Army.
Yeah.
So this is one that was in short supply. Luckily, we got a media copy, thankfully. So thank you, Board and Dice, for that.
Thank you.
And this is one where you're building out the Terracotta Army. You're craftsmen and artists. And you are working with clay and things to build out this army of statues and stuff. It has this really interesting, like 3-tiered action dials.
Seems
So there's 2 different like circles that go down, and those got on top of a board that also has actions. And you can rotate the pieces individually to create, I think, different combinations of actions you can do.
Yeah.
So that to me, I'm like, that is really fascinating, like way to do action selection. I'm very curious to see how that works. I'm very curious to see if that creates the most AP of all time.
Right.
I'm sure there's limiters on what you have access to, so you can't like break your brain on the infinity combinations that makes up. And you're working with clay. So one thing that's cool is like the main resource is clay. And you have clay that's wet, and the clay can kind of dry out and not be useful. So I think there's some kind of time management within the game of like make sure you use your stuff before the end of the round kind of thing. And you are getting all of these little figures and putting them into the tomb, like where they are. And I think you're kind of trying to have the most of your statues in an area. So you actually will pop on your little color, your player colors, these little bases on each of the statue figures and stuff.
Yeah.
The little pants on them. And doing stuff like that. So we don't know, again, the specific functionality of the
people
actions
really
and stuff.
like it. I know a lot of people who have very similar taste in games have really,
they're like,
really
you're
been
going to
into
like
it.
this game. So I'm super excited. We generally like the T games from Board and
Yeah.
Dice. They haven't really steered us wrong yet. And so Terracotta Army seems like another cool addition into that. And I love the cover. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, it's kind of just simple, but it looks
Beautiful.
really nice. Yeah,
The idea of the kind of beam of light coming down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm super excited for this. This is, I think, going to be right in that happy zone of weight that we like the most. So I'm just super.
Yeah,
I'm
really
curious
cool.
to learn more about this. We don't know that much about it yet, but I really want to get into that rule book.
Yeah.
And find out. But that's our haul, y'all. Oh wait, there's one other thing.
Oh, there's the most important thing. There's
one other thing. You might have seen
greatest
this.
game ever made.
Boom! We got a Crokinole board.
We did.
Finally, we've always wanted one.
It was fun getting this home.
It was weird. I think we freaked out properly. The Indianapolis.
Yeah. They didn't know what to do with it.
Airport staff.
It was in a box,
This
to be
box
fair.
was. They like we inspected this box. I'm like, I am certain you did.
Yes,
Because you're like,
absolutely.
what is this giant wheel? It's like it's a Crokinole board.
Crokinole.
We've always wanted a Crokinole board, and we only have this because our buddy won it.
Yeah.
They played a Crokinole tournament just for fun, and then the winner's like, "Oh, you get a Crokinole board," and he won. He's like, "Oh, I already
Cool.
have one." And he just like
He's like,
literally
"Hey, Murph,
the
you want
nicest thing
this?"
ever. He's like, "Here's this." He not even that. He was just like, "Here's your Crokinole board." I was just like,
Thank you.
"What are you talking about?" He's just like, "Yeah, I won it." And I was just like, "What?" He had to give me the whole story. He's like, "I already have this. I want you to have it so that you can play and train and we can have epic matches."
It's true.
And I am down. So thank you, Dan.
Yes,
An
indeed.
incredibly generous gift. This is from Mayday Games. I think they had a Kickstarter, so that's gonna be
Yeah.
fulfilling soon. We got the upgraded pegs for the middle that we're gonna slap
We got
onto this
some
bad boy.
wax for it.
Got some car
Epic
wax.
tournaments coming.
I'm so excited for that.
Love
so that was
Crokinole.
we've always wanted a board,
Yes.
and they're expensive and stuff.
Yes.
And we got
Happened to luck
absolutely
into one because of a good friend.
because
yeah.
of just pure generosity from our
Yeah.
friends. So thank you again, Dan. That is awesome. That's our haul.
That's it. That's it. Again, not
That's
our
everything.
biggest haul, but I'm excited for all the games we got. It was just, they're just weird. We were just like, you know what? We don't want to come home with like stacks and stacks and stacks of games because we just didn't want
We
to.
have
And
enough
so,
trouble getting through the stuff that we do have.
yeah, and so we're super excited about these games, though. Let us know down in the comments below what games you're excited to see us play. If you want to see us play any of these games, let us know down in the comments below.
What did you pick up if you were at Gen Con? What are you excited to pick
Yeah.
up once it hits stores in the next month or so? Let us know all of that stuff in the comments below.
Indeed. Until next time, I'm Nick.
I'm Mike.
We're the Brothers Murph. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Listen here. I don't want to have to tell you again. You better subscribe. You better like this video. And tell us what you want to, what you want to see us play from Gen Con, man. It's really easy. Now, the Brothers Murph Season 5 is sponsored by, of course, Lucky Duck Games, Board Game Geek, and Restoration Games. But the August sponsor is ePaladin. Now, ePaladin is like a holy warrior of electronic recycling stuff. So ePaladin, the warrior says, like, you better turn in your batteries safely and tape up the little nubs and stuff so you don't cause a fire and whatnot. And don't you ever dare throw a laptop in the trash. That's ePaladin's thing. That's what I just made up. And you know what? It sounds made up because it was. And that's okay too. Make sure you check out those videos on the side. Again, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. And we hope that whether or not you were at Gen Con or you're at Gen Canting, that you had a damn fine time.